Hey everyone, thanks for joining me for another episode of Deploy. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Michael Kearse, a real estate investor and founder of Ameripath USA. Over the last several years, I've helped investors deploy millions into affordable real estate that creates consistent, secure returns while helping people across the country achieve home ownership. I created Deploy because I realized everyone has capital, whether it be money, knowledge, or relationships, but few deploy it intentionally. This show is all about the art and science of deployment and how high performers turn potential into power. Milton Flournoy, he's a Lean Six Sigma black belt that leads operational efficiencies for hospitals. Welcome, Milton. Thanks for joining us today. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you so much, Michael, for the introduction.
Yeah, Mr. Flournoy. Awesome. So, Mr. Flournoy, how do you usually introduce yourself to people who don't know you or your world?
So for me, I tell people I am a connector between people, processes, and success. I believe that all processes should be fundamentally set up to help people succeed. And at the core of that, you have to have a respect for people. It's one of the core tenets of Lean Six Sigma, and it's one of the core tenets that I live and I work.
Awesome. So in the hospital world, I can imagine that you guys need to be, or it's beneficial for them to be more efficient. What are some of the typical challenges that you see, or what are some of the typical things that you guys are working on in that environment?
Typical challenges are breakdowns in communication. That's standard across most corporate, but fundamentally, really, it's about making sure that your policies mirror the directions of federal guidelines, especially within healthcare. Federal guidelines are always changing, and so we're making sure that we're adapting that to get to the patient outcomes. Within healthcare, it's fundamental to make sure that we are presenting an overall patient experience. Patient experience, ask any hospital system, that's what they're driving to. Revenue is one, but patient experience and what people say about your hospital will help increase your revenue because it gets people in the door. It makes you recognizable. So when I look at the breakdowns, it's communication. It's are we using techniques and processes to set people up so that the patient experience is seamless. We're not sending them to multiple people. Yes, that they have a primary care physician that they interact with, that the nursing staff are pleasant, but I often help teams build around that patient experience.
Interesting. I never looked at hospitals like a business, right? Like, oh, we want to make sure that we're improving the customer experience. When I was doing digital marketing a couple of years ago, I came across someone who had developed the software. It was meant to be sold to hospitals to help improve the customer experience. And I think one of the things that he was with the angle that he was taking is that oftentimes individuals will search and try to self-diagnose themselves. And sometimes they would go down rabbit holes, or a doctor would send a diagnosis, but really wouldn't explain how it pertains to that individual specifically. So he was really trying to solve the metric of, to your point, the patient experience. I just always looked at hospital as like, when you need them, you go to one, right? You just go to the closest one. But to your point, right, they can, just like any business, if they can improve the customer experience, if they can improve the value proposition, it's just not, come to us when you need something, right? We can help you have a pleasant experience. And I guess it does make sense. Like, I know, some people are like, oh yeah, I'm going here when I have my baby. And like, where you having them at? Right. Because that means a lot. Interesting. Thanks for sharing that. So I want to go back for a second before all the wins, who you were. Like, who were you before this version of success showed up?
Man, that's kind of sort of a tough question. Not really. I guess I can tell you what I tell most people. I am an in vivo biologist by trade. I've always had a passion and creativity and a draw to science early in my life, early in my career. That's how I started out. I used to do animal lab testing for pharmaceutical
Wow.
drug development. That's how I got introduced to lean and site harmonization projects. Like when people ask me for a unique fact, I go, I've worked with most animals, and people are like, you used to work with animals? I'm like, yeah. Like, so that is an interesting fact. But one of the things working in the biotech pharmaceutical development energy industry taught me, especially when I first learned Lean, is like, that's how I saw the world. I saw it by how we can set people up for success, because we're only as good as your worst process. That's how people saw. And I just kind of worked my way up, moving from pharma and biotech. I I worked in higher ed, specifically academic medicine. So the training of the doctors and physicians and their structure for several years, implementing lean process improvement in that space as well, and understanding how it applies even in an education setting as well as clinical, and then transition to clinical. So for me, who I was before. I've always been that person that is very logical, very pragmatic, very much in hone with lean. Lean just gave me the voice and the vocabulary to really express myself and flex kind of those chops.
I like it. I like it. Yeah. As you talk more about lean, you're really jogging my memory. I think I said off camera, I come from the project management where I got a PMP. I've been working alongside lean and Six Sigma, and I had to do some studying on it. So I'm starting to think about, wow, yeah, I need to maybe bring in some of these for my own processes, what I do as a small real estate investor. And to your point, you are only as good as your processes scale. I'm starting to bring on other people. And I'm just thinking about, oh yeah, man, I need to probably bring in some of these practices or maybe bring in a consultant to kind of look at it, see how we can improve. I like that. Were there any early struggles that shaped how you operate today?
Yes, very much so. And it's what early on when I started it, especially making a shift coming from a biotech pharma environment and being internally as a consultant and understanding and driving people about like this is a cost savings, delivering lean, especially when you talk with people in manufacturing and everything else. It's a lot. It's easy to get executives and people walking in when you say, "Hey, I'm going to save you this amount it, this much amount of money. Like, hey, I'm going to save you 350K. I'm going to save you $1 million. And that's the impact. What I had to learn and what moving to academia and higher ed taught me, though, is it's not always about the money. It's about the WIFM. Physicians and faculty and students and patients is something that I brought to healthcare care. The WIFM is very much important. And when I say WIFM, I mean it's what's in it for me. That's what WIFM stands for. So it's that value proposition for each person. In the hospital here, you can talk about money, yeah. But like, let's be realistic. Physicians don't necessarily really care about that. They care about patient outcomes. They care about making and giving their patients the solution and finding the cure, helping them have the greatest experience. And so I really struggled early on with understanding why doesn't we talk about how money motivates a lot of things. It doesn't motivate truly in this space, especially within process improvement and breaking it down. And let's be realistic, processes don't care about money. They don't. It's efficiency and how do I help you remove the pain points and how do I help you be the most productive you can be moving from point A to point B and making it equal C and getting it to equal C. Or maybe it's not C, maybe it's D, but how do I help you be successful and give you the building blocks to set you up for success? And that's really one of the hardest lessons and most fundamental lessons that I really learned.
I love that you put that. I have a sales background, and that's one of the things that they taught you from the jump is what's in it from them, and in marketing as well. The great marketers can speak to what's in it for the customer, not really always about who you are and what you do. You want to share that, right? Because you have a general brand that you want to market out there and make sure that they know who you are. Ultimately, if you can't
Yeah.
communicate what's in it for them and communicate that value proposition, you're going to struggle from a marketing perspective. So that has really helped me, right? I'm always positioning even my copy and how I write things in their perspective, what matters to them. You'll be a master at life once you understand that. What was your first big break or deal, and what did it teach you?
I think my big breaker deal, I think is when I had a side project where I got brought in for someone that really wanted coaching about their individual business. They were starting a nonprofit based off of little girls who trained through targeted interactions and workshops based off of mantras. And they brought me in. We had several conversations. They had done things here and there. But what I really helped them do is define what their core process was, what their offering was, how they got to point A to point B. And for them, the breakthrough came to say, hey, you need to logically set up how benefit that you're bringing to schools and after school programs and show that value because they had video content, they had a lot of things, but that process, the processes in them as a person, they were everywhere. And I do mean everywhere, where like they had marketing, they had these pieces, but they hadn't kind of coalesced into to okay, what's my book of work? And so we sat down and fundamentally I went through a basic lean concept, like let's do a SIPOC, which is suppliers, inputs, process, outputs, customers. And we went through and we detailed that for them. And then I did the process, then I walked them through a process map where we detailed their entire process all the way from introduction to execution of the program. And then it was kind of like that aha moment went off for them. And that for me was one of the greatest successes because I got to really help somebody see that light bulb go off
Hmm.
and then they were off. And then they were off. And like we did that. And that project lasted around 6 months. But even now I sometimes reach out and they're doing great. They're thriving, they're building their client portfolio and they're doing well.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So you built something incredible, but I know success is more mindset than mechanics. I want to unpack how you think. What principle or
Yeah.
beliefs guide how you make decisions today?
Respect for people. And it is a core tenet of lean. But for me, I really hone in on the respect for people because the way and my guiding principle around that is perspective. I'm always going to take in multiple perspectives, no matter what it is. I want to talk to you, especially if it's something here at the hospital. I want to talk to nurses. I want to talk to physicians. I want to talk to everybody that's involved, and then I want to pull them together for help drive that. So everybody's voice is being heard and everybody is being respected. If it's something outside, I'm pulling everybody in. I'm having the interviews. I'll do my analysis in the background and then I'll present something to them. That to me is really what guides me and pushes me because for me, I do this work for the aha moment. I want you to alleviate your pain point, but I want to see the light bulb go off. I want you to reach that aha moment. I want to be able to look in your eyes and see that light bulb go off, that flash, that spark. And that's to me the most rewarding thing about that and my guiding principle.
I like that. How about risk and reward? How do you approach that?
Risk and reward. I take as much risk as I can. I won't say I'm risk adverse, but I will say that I measure that. That I'm the type of individual that I will weigh the pros and I will weigh the cons. And as long as it shakes out that it's 50-50, I'll take a chance on something and I'll let my pragmatism and logic kind of guide me as I engage with the things as far as risk. To me, my reward in most of it, like I said before, is that aha moment. If I can fundamentally feel that I can be of value to somebody and I can help them reach that aha, I'll take on something.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And so what's your process for solving like hard problems or setbacks?
Make sure I always start where at the beginning. Like I want to know the background, I want to know the context. I want that. But then also you after I understand the background, my first question to most people is what does success look like to you? So then I can understand what the problem is. Because oftentimes we solve symptoms, we don't solve the problem. And so I'm always trying to look for what's the true root cause. So in doing so I also have to know where are you trying to go? Because if you can't tell me what success looks like, I'm going to have to reevaluate. Wait, what are you truly trying to solve? Are you just trying to fix a symptom? You're going to band-aid it and then 6 months you're going to be right back here. So
Right. Well,
yeah,
no, well said. Well said. So what do you think separates people who create wealth from those who chase it?
action. You can plan a lot. You can research. You can ask a whole bunch of people, but until you just pull that trigger as far as risk and reward and go back to say, hey, I'm just going to do it and take that leap, that's what sets them. Yeah, that's what separates them. You have to be willing to take the risk and let your principles and your values and your determination guide you. It's no I often tell people I compare it to how I get up. Like I'm an early riser. I get up at 5 a.m. every morning, regardless of whether or not it's a weekday or a weekend, that's just how I am. Like, and I don't need an alarm clock. Most of the time, I get up before my alarm clock goes off, and I just get up. Like, I can just get up and go and get moving. In fact, if I lay too long in the bed, sometimes I'm like, yeah, I done wasted the day away.
Yeah, yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I like to relax, but you have to be disciplined enough to just do, because motivation can take you so far, but it's that discipline and then it's that muscle memory of, hey, I'm going to do it. And then getting in the habit so that you are just attuned to doing it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So what time do you lay to rest if you get up so early?
Yeah. I'm in bed most of the time by 9 o'clock. And I'm hard sleeper. I can sleep through most things. Sometimes I'll stretch it to 10. 10. Weekends, sometimes I break that and I go out.
You
Like,
splurge a little bit. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, you're getting good hours. That makes sense why you can get up at 5 every day. Now, how do you manage your time, energy, and relationships? And do you manage them like assets?
yeah, you have to build relationships fundamentally. It feeds every aspect of you. My time management is based off of calendaring. I use a calendar for the most part as much as possible. I kind of live and die by my calendar to an extent. Still on I need to put it on there. I need to write it down. I also journal every morning as a part of just my morning routine, and that helps me kind of center and make sure that I know where I'm at. It also helps me balance those relationships. In my free time, like, my girlfriend is an interior designer, so I help her with her business on the side. And she has a full-time job, but she's an interior designer by trade. And we're very busy most weekends on projects. And so I balance that by just making sure my calendar is up to date, keeping my routine, and that I'm feeding our relationship with conversations, and I'm feeding friends and everything else. I reach out. I make sure I call my family at least once every week and a half. So, like, hey, you got to keep your personal relationships there and grounded, because I think it helps. Again, it helps with perspective.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
again, I go back to perspective for me is everything, and it provides context. You need that context when you're helping people solve problems and relieve pain points. Like, you have to understand
With helping your girlfriend in interior designing, are you pointing out inefficiencies in her processes, or are you giving her little tidbits here? Does
all of the
the
above.
6 man?
I help define her process. I do her contracting. I do the invoicing. I also see things with the creative. I've been helping her long enough to where, like, I can point out things a little when we go through walkthroughs. It's for me. It's not only helping, no different like I would help any small business owner or anything on the side, helping them detail out, hey, this is your process. This is what you should be doing every time you meet with a client, and making sure she's staying consistent with that, especially considering she wants to give a white glove, and she does experience to all of her clients, and then make sure that their home hugs them at the end, because that's her definition of what success looks like. It's like, so I make sure that that's what she's delivering, or at least help her do that anytime she engages with a client. So, like, yeah.
I like that. Make sure that the house hugs you. I like that. I like that. So we talk a lot here about how people deploy their capital, not just financially, but intellectually and relationally. So I'm curious to see how that looks for you. When you think of capital, what does that word mean to you?
Capital is a lot of things. For me, I guess I think it would be time, your knowledge, and financial. Those are all things that you're going to spend. You're going to spend time doing things regardless. Like we talked about, it's building relationships, helping people develop. It's engaging. It's getting perspectives. It's what feeds you. You're going to also spend and the motivation and everything else to engage in that in relationship building, making sure that you are having healthy relationships with people. And then it's also money. Like, it costs money to do things regardless of whether I'm investing in stocks or my portfolio or real estate, or whether or not I'm investing in spending money on dates or outings, just to hang with friends or anything, or experiences. It's, to me, that all of that is capital, and it's about you determining, at least for your life, what success looks like. What does it look like? Like, so I know for me, I make sure that we make time for calling friends, engaging with friends, going out. I make time to have well thought out conversations. We make times for spending time not doing any of the side, not me not doing lean, her not doing interior design or her day. So it's about really looking at what are we spending, what is our mental energy, and what are we putting forth as effort. That is all capital.
Man, I love it. So well put. I always like to end with perspective because the way we deploy capital says a lot about who we are and what we value. So, how do you define wealth today? Has that changed over time?
I don't think it has. I've never been one guided by money, like as far as being materialistic, as like I gotta have the latest, I gotta have designer or anything else or car. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like to be comfortable, but to me, it's about I look for perspective, and for me, perspective is the experiences and the relationships and the time that I get to spend with family and or learn. I'm always going to try to learn something. I'm always trying to experience something. It's one of the reasons why, like, I enjoy. We've gone on trips for Thanksgiving just because of where I'm at this point in my life. So, like this past Thanksgiving, we went to Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, and we went to Paris for
Wow.
Thanksgiving. Over Thanksgiving, in 2024 we went to Switzerland. Like, hey,
Wow.
I'm trying to figure out where we're going this year. This year, which I'm kind of looking at Tokyo. And
Wow.
that
That's awesome.
might be one that like my mom and my sister may go to. So it may be me, my girlfriend, my mom, and my sister. Four of us may all go, which would be different. But again, like it's that stuff. Or the time that I get to spend with my two little girls, just doing stuff. Like I spent New Year's with them, and my oldest wanted a daddy daughter day. Me
Nice.
having the ability to make sure that like I get to spend that time with her and I get to say, "Hey, you get to focus on being a kid and you just get to spend it with me and you can talk about anything you want. We can talk about nothing. We can watch TV. We can do whatever you want for that day. And that to me enriches everything. And that's what wealth is to me. I mean, it's those relationships, it's that time. Yeah, it's that perspective.
Love it. I love it. Milton, that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for taking the time. This was amazing. For those of you who had joined us for this episode of Deployed, thank you again, and we will see you at the next episode.